all,
Oh,
all, already reacting to my headline with what do we got
I
here?
know.
It was
I didn't
Steven. The Final Four hangover is real. What's the Deeks excuse? We'll get to that. We'll definitely get to that.
Will you look at the here? Hold it.
Yeah, no.
I didn't know there was a hole in it,
dude. Happy and Hale doesn't screw around, man. They don't screw around. So I'm glad
Who wants to be a black card?
We'll be giving those away. All right, you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties. Thanks to Copiers Plus. And of course, it is just past 2:00. It is Thursday. It is time to give you Butcher's Market OG Live. Check out the Butcher's Market. Locations across the triangle, Wilmington as well. Eat your feelings. You know, they might have that steak and cheese might help you out with that hangover. I'm just saying. Now, look, here's the thing, Joe. I get it. You get older. Hangovers are very difficult to move on from.
Especially when you hadn't been drunk like that for 37 years.
So it's going to take you a while to get over a hangover. I can speak from experience. In the summer of 2023, I got so blitzed on old fashions. You remember that night at Graffiti? I don't, but you do. It took me 3 days.
At least.
3 days to recover from that, all right? So I'm going to pace myself at the ACC tournament in a couple of weeks. But that's where NC State is right now, man. It is absolutely brutal, and it was brutal last night. However, Joe. However, as bad as last night looked for the Wolfpack. Destination Charlotte 2025 is somehow not dead.
All right. We'll get into last night.
Okay.
Here we go, though.
Okay.
There are still 7 ways for NC State to make it to Charlotte to the ACC tournament. First one would be by going 3-0. And then if Florida State were to finish 0-3, they'd have the tiebreak over the Seminoles. If Notre Dame were to go 1-2, they would have the tiebreak over Notre Dame. Syracuse could lose out and be 6-14. NC State could win out and be a game ahead of the Orange. If Cal were to go 1-2, they'd be 1 game clear of a team who has the tiebreak over them. Now you're sitting here going, Joe, they haven't won a road game all year. Why do you think they're magically going to win 2?
Yeah.
Excellent point. So let's say they lose on Saturday and then win their final 2 games. Then they're 2-1. There's still 2 ways that they can get there. And that would be for either Notre Dame to go 0-3.
Yeah.
Or for Cal to go 0-3. And you go, well, Giglio, why can't both Notre Dame and Cal go 0-3? This is where I point out that Notre Dame and Cal finished the season with each other. So of the most likeliest things to happen, Notre Dame going 0-3 and State going 2-1 would be the cleanest path to the ACC tournament. I would put Cal second on that list. Notre Dame finishes at Wake, Stanford at home, Cal at home. Cal finishes BC at home. That feels like a win. At Louisville, at Notre Dame. And actually, the team with the toughest road is Florida State, but that means State would somehow have to magically go 3-0. So Florida State goes Duke to a suddenly spunky Virginia and closes with SMU. Don't forget their coach has already, resigned.
Right.
It's so maybe they pull one out for the Gipper in that SMU home game at the end. I'm not sure. But like I said, I think the clearest and cleanest path is for them to go 2-1 and to have either Notre Dame or Cal lose out.
From BK, Ron, 2 Roosters might go undefeated this season. Yes, somebody had pointed this out.
I'll share the text thread. I tried to get Jared to go Mattress Mac.
I understand. I understand from Tim on Twitter. 2 Roosters still undefeated on the year. 2 Roosters is the winner. What's better than 1 Rooster? 2 Roosters in their ice cream. Road trip for ice cream. Still hasn't happened yet. But hey, you know what? Just because you're not getting the BOGO doesn't mean you can't support our corporate champions.
That's right.
over at Two Roosters. So by all means, go to tworoosters.com to find out all those flavors. And look, I think Jay has the right attitude. If NC State does not make it destination Charlotte 2025, Jay wants to know when someone beats the defending ACC champs in the ACC tournament. Not happening.
Never lost.
Never lost.
So
Never lost.
Now let's get into last night just for a minute here. This won't take long.
I was going to say, what is there to say?
This won't take long. NC State loses to a bad Syracuse team in a game that was barely competitive. First 5 minutes of the game, it's 13-3. And it's just like the Carolina game. And you're sitting here going, you even said on our program, State has like this mental block against Carolina. No, they just didn't play with any fucking urgency. And you saw that last night in Syracuse.
That's the part that would drive anybody insane.
It's 28-12 after 12 minutes, 16 points. Look at that. You lost by 14.
Yeah.
So you have to have the urgency at the start of the basketball game. This is now twice in their last 3 starts that you're going, why are you asleep when you're starting the basketball game? It doesn't make any sense.
Who is the Carolina Hurricane coach who always talk about starting on time?
Paul Maurice.
Paul Maurice.
Yeah.
He was the one who got to start on time.
Got to be on time.
State's not starting.
Got to stay on schedule.
It's not happening.
I mean, and quite frankly, there's no NIL issue there. That's coaching.
Yeah.
The players have to be ready to play basketball. They were not in Chapel Hill. They were not last night against Syracuse. Syracuse is not a good basketball team.
No.
They're a bad basketball team, actually. So to make Syracuse look like, the Harlem Globetrotters, like that was embarrassing. Eddie Lampkin Jr., they turned into another 44 for Syracuse, Derek Coleman last night. I'm like, guys, he ain't that good. Poor Chris Spatola had to call out Brandon Huntley Hatfield and just undress him verbally.
Right out of the gate, he called him out. And shout out to Jaden over at the News and Observer. She called Lampkin DJ Burns 2.0 as things have been going for them.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, this comes to us from a 704 number.
Hi, John. Well, I am watching NC State get blown out by 5-11 Syracuse. And I've got to say, previously, I thought I was forever grateful to Kevin Keats. However, I've contacted some of the gratefulness rating bureaus, and I've learned that Keats' gratefulness rating has been downgraded from a forever grateful to just a standard grateful. And unfortunately, with the gratefulness rating at that level, I will not be donating. That being said, for the work that you guys do, you should know you have a grateful, forever grateful plus rating or whatever. Anyway, this is depressing. Yeah, we'll leave it at there. Not exactly positive vibes only.
No,
it is depressing. Listen. You got to call it like it is. Last night, that's on Kevin. You have to be ready to play basketball. You got to play with some sort of urgency, and to have it happen twice in 3 games is bad. And there's just no way around it.
Not to go Bruno Mars and Anderson Paak here. Little Silk Sonic. The door was left open. Okay.
Right.
Who you with?
Yeah.
Where you at? All right. Well, where you at is you got a glimmer of hope to still make the ACC tournament, and crazier things have happened. Obviously, you can point to last year. And yeah, to your point, you got to be ready. You got to be out there with some sense of urgency, and they just fell flat.
Hey, Joe. I am currently watching a lineup of Marcus Hill, Michael O'Connell, Jaden Taylor, Bryce Hurd, and Brandon Huntley Hatfield. If that doesn't scream the worst fucking team of all time, I don't know what does. The only sorry, my girlfriend's laughing at me. This is not a laughing matter though. I mean, if we make a Final Four run 10 years ago, pre-NIL, think about the guys we bring in just off of the momentum for the program and just a boost for NC State basketball as a whole. I think NIL is the worst thing that could have happened to a program like NC State. And I think it's showing with Brandon Huntley Hatfield being our highest paid player and getting absolutely taken to the woodshed, behind the woodshed, by Eddie Lampkin. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on where this could have gone pre-NIL, and if this happening in the NIL era classifies as NC State shit.
I just appreciate that apparently his girlfriend was laughing at him.
Yeah,
while
I
he
like
called
that.
into the sports phone as he
No,
was just trying to work through it, man.
Yeah,
For a little
don't-
pack therapy. It's okay.
Don't laugh at him. That's what the phone's for.
Yes. Let him talk it out. Let it talk it out. I mean, I feel like what the caller's doing there is kind of bouncing off of what Kevin Keats had talked about with having a run and what that does for the university in a previous era. But I feel like why are we bringing up things that would have been 10 years ago? To me, that's bad messaging. That's bad messaging
from the Carolina post game.
Yeah, like that, but that's not what it is. We're not there anymore. You have to find different ways to use what you did as momentum.
Sure. I think what he was trying to say is like under the previous model, right? If you made a run to the Final Four, then it would appeal to recruits in a certain way that you'd be able to capitalize on that. But under this model, the reality of it is recruits look at it and go, well, how much money am I going to make?
Right.
And we've heard Carolina lament this as well about fit. Like it used to be fit and getting you ready for the pros. And what have you done? You know, how many guys have you put into the league? I mean, I don't know how many times I had Mark Gottfried yell at me for not promoting TJ Warren more, because that's how you get recruits, is by showing people that you can put people into the NBA, not winning the ACC Player of the Year. So like
yeah, I get that.
It had to be about like, oh no, look, see, we put him in the NBA. You got to highlight that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, that's what Calipari would do. It's like, who cares about a championship? Look at all the guys that put in the NBA, because that's what you sell on the recruiting trail. Well, let's go to the corporate champion hotline here, because we did get a, hey, Joe, is it theoretically possible with NIL? Is it theoretically possible that NC State men's basketball only retains 2 players from this season? The 2 coaches' sons, because you're dealing with a lot of senior fifth-year guys. And then, of course, theoretically, you use underclassmen in the portal. You could lose those guys. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, they could turn over the whole roster. There's no doubt.
Well, that gets to something we have in the YouTube chat. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick from John. If Giglio says year-to-year proposition, I'm going to surgically remove my eardrums. But then what will we put it in?
I wouldn't do
that. What
will
we put it in?
I wouldn't do that.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's go back to the OG Sports Phone. This is from a 252.
So there's probably about 10 minutes left in the NC State basketball game versus Syracuse tonight, and it looks like Destination Charlotte 2025 may be coming to an end. So I'm trying a little reverse psychology in also being creative with our friend ChatGPT to write an obituary to the NC State basketball team for the 2024-2025 season. So maybe in hopes of me doing this before the game ends, they may win tonight and keep Destination Charlotte 2025 hopes alive. So here's what our friend ChatGPT had to pull together for me. The 2024-2025 NC State men's basketball team's ACC tournament dreams came to a heartbreaking end today in a season-crushing loss to Syracuse, officially closing the door with a chance to defend last year's magical title run. Once fueled by hope and determination, the Wolfpack's journey fell short, leaving fans without the annual tradition of watching the ACC tournament on AV TV carts in classrooms across Raleigh. With the loss, so too fades Destination Charlotte 2025, a dream that once felt within reach, but will now never be realized. Instead of fighting for another championship, the Pack will watch from afar, if only with the memories of what could have been. Rest easy, Pack. The road ends here. Let's see if reverse magic works. That's actually not bad for asking ChatGPT with just a little bit of prompt. Anyway, y'all have fun. We'll see how this game turns out. Laters.
Destination Charlotte isn't officially
People catching on to
dead.
Destination Charlotte.
Yeah,
I like that. That's good radioing by us. That's well done by us.
Not dead yet. Although our guy Kelly up in Wisconsin taking what we've done with the OG, and it's the drunk OG, and it just says, not us. Not us. Not why not us. No. Just straight up, not us. All right, this is from a 910.
Oh, but
Kevin?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say it and then not.
What's that?
One of my favorite pictures.
The road ends here.
Hey. I'll always have Phoenix.
You'll always have the fireball in Phoenix.
Kevin Keats. Fuck this shit. Herb Zone. Y'all have a good night.
That was short and to the point.
I mean,
For our guy Paul, dear Lord, AI is gunning for Luke DeCock's job. At some point, it's going to come to us, man. At some point, it's going to come to us. Don't worry.
well, not the government, because clearly they screwed up with their AI scraping, that they turned people over into 100 years old, 150 years old.
Dude,
because
I'm not keeping up with some of that.
it was
stuff.
AI.
It was
That's
AI?
how they screwed up. Yeah.
Okay. Some of that stuff I'm not keeping up with. This is from I believe it's from a 913
What is that?
area code. Hold on a second. What was a 913?
Using the Google machine to figure that one out.
913 area code is from no, I'm sorry, a 931. This is from Tennessee.
Oh,
Okay.
Hello. I'm trying to figure out how NC State can beat Wake Forest one game and lay an egg against Syracuse. I have a Kevin Keats conspiracy theory. I think Kevin Keats deliberately recruited this team to have these results because he was not satisfied with the NIL money he got this year. Maybe if this year's team performs badly enough, he might actually get enough NIL money to buy some talent next year. I can't understand otherwise why this team is doing so poorly. Oh, my name is Mike, and I'm a refugee from the 919 area code. Moved out when I retired. Love your show. Thanks, guys. Bye now.
huge in Tennessee.
It's huge in
I love
Tennessee.
it.
Let's go, baby. You know what? I felt that was a good, the OG Sports Phone. Sometimes I plan these out to help us transition to other things and other topics. And that caller actually did what I was looking for in that, hey, how can NC State beat this Wake Forest team, who also has a sense of urgency, by the way, to make the NCAA tournament? And there is another particular angle when it comes to a coach and when's it going to happen and everything that's been going in your direction. And suddenly you find yourself putting up your own roadblocks. So you go and you beat NC State. So I actually think Wake Forest has had a much more embarrassing streak of games here compared to NC State. And I know we don't spend as much time talking about Wake Forest. We do love talking to Steve Forbes. But if I'm a Wake Forest fan, if I have invested a lot of money into Wake Forest, you have two unacceptable losses that have helped take you out of NCAA tournament discussion. I understand we focus on who you beat and wins above the bubble. And Wake does have some decent wins. However, you can lose games that put you in that doughy middle and they'll put you up on the board. All right. It's the old Jay-Z line. You don't want to be on that Summer Jam screen. Well, that's what happens in the NCAA tournament committee room. Now Wake is putting themselves in that position where they're getting on that Summer Jam screen and they have to be discussed with other teams in a similar position. And I'm sorry. Losing to Virginia at home?
Getting smoked by Virginia.
Come on. Defensively, that's been your strength this year. And I'm watching Virginia dot them with threes last night, wondering, what is this?
Did they get Tyrone Jerome to come back?
So this is now 3 games in which,
Or even better,
the Florida
number 0.
Oh, yeah. You had the Florida State debacle.
Yeah. Wake Forest should be 22-6. They're 19-9.
Florida State debacle where you were up double digits. You found a way to lose that game. You were straight up beat by NC State tape to tape. And then that happened again at home. How you respond to bad losses also tells me a lot about your team. I'm sorry, you can't go back home and lose to Virginia. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. And this is not a, any given night in the ACC type situation. Not to that Virginia team, much like with NC State, not to that Syracuse team, guys. So, man, Wake. What are we doing here? I'm not going to go the full Will Cooper route of Seth Greenberg 2.0. But goodness. Absolutely terrible.
We did
loss.
have good news for one of our teams, though, last night.
That is?
2-pronged. The reporting on Tyrese Proctor
Yes.
was that, yes, structurally going to be good. But he will return this season, which I interpreted to mean we will see him in Raleigh for the NCAA tournament. That's what I interpreted that as.
I would
right?
look at it that way too.
Ty Lawson back in 2009 had the toe, and Roy was like, "Yeah, I think we're gonna be okay. We need him though." Well, and he didn't play until the NCAA tournament, and then lo and behold, they wrecked through the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But in the interim, they did lose to Duke in the ACC tournament. Now, if Proctor doesn't play the rest of the regular season, who could that possibly benefit? Let me think. Oh, could it be the most undefeated Giglio axiom of all time? Yes, it is. If something good can happen at Carolina, you can bet your ass it will.
Housekeeping.
Big thanks to Inovana. Check them out online at inovana.com. Green cleaning solutions.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Inovana.
Couple housekeeping notes. Nature's Relief, they bring you the OG sports phone. So
correct.
We appreciate them. Check them out online, naturesreliefhempstore.com, RELEAF, hempstore.com. But next Thursday, OG Live is on the road. We're going to be in the G. I'm going to be missing the G because Jacob's hockey season's coming to an end.
Oh, okay. So you need one last gas.
I'm not going to be spending as much time in Garner here in the next few months. So I'm going to need a little G fix. So I cannot wait to go back to Garner next week to be at the Nature's Relief.
Timber Drive, Nature's Relief will be live at 1, right?
Yes.
Or 2. Which one?
Whatever I don't know why you want to do 1 o'clock.
I don't know. I felt like
2 o'clock.
2.
That's when we go on YouTube.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thursday. Nature's Relief. Timber Drive.
Are you on that Nature's Relief right now?
I'm not, but
okay.
I
mean, Nature's Relief should be doing good business thanks to NC State. Just saying.
And the sports phone. That's why they sponsor it.
This is true. Now, y'all have heard me talk about my younger son, Jacob, youth hockey, all that stuff, junior cans. I've been the team manager. But I do have another son. You might not know this. I have another son.
Okay.
The older son, Caleb. He's a junior at Enloe. He's part of the marching band, Sko Eagles. He's in the indoor percussion group this year. Actually, was in the indoor percussion group last year. In the last 3 years since they've been doing indoor percussion, they've been getting scores that are pretty darn good. So now they want to take it to the world stage. And where else do you do the world stage for percussion than Dayton, Ohio?
And second in flight. Yes.
Yes. So here's the thing. Enloe needs money. And I come to you and ask you for money. So go to givebutter.com/indoor. Again, that's givebutter.com/indoor and donate to the Enloe Eagles indoor percussion program so we can get that ensemble to Dayton, Ohio, because who doesn't want to go to Dayton in April? Where dreams are made. That's what it's all about. Every time we talk about the ACC, it's brought to you by Keller Williams Commercial, the Donnelly team, trianglenccommercial.com, 919-616-8681. You have commercial real estate needs. You're into retail. You're trying to open up a restaurant. You just need warehouse space for all of the Carolina Hurricanes popcorn buckets that look like Zambonis, Olympias. It's in my house. I got to find a shelf that fits it right. Then they can get you on that. So check them out online at trianglenccommercial.com, 919-616-8681. Also, big thanks to our friends at Longleaf. Did you know that Longleaf has a great bourbon selection? Just an off-the-charts bourbon selection. They do bourbon dinners, too.
I did know this. Yes.
Were you there earlier this week drinking said bourbon?
No.
Good for you.
Oh, I'm just taking part in some lunch, trying to work through some of their specials.
Did you spot the OG flag?
I did.
As small as it might be, I miscalculated the size. Story of my life is what it is. It looked bigger on the photo. It looked bigger in the photo. But in actual real life application, it's not as big. It is what it is. But it's there. So look up, see it. The OG flag is in the house. Big thanks to Longleaf Swine for being an OG corporate champion. Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. We are getting some absolute gorgeous weather, which also means it's going to be hot before you know it, which also means the mosquitoes are going to be active. So go ahead and start thinking about those treatments right now. Go to bugsbite.com with Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. And of course, our friends at 1-800-PLUMBER+AIR. The name It's in the number. You can also go to the website, 1-800-PLUMBER. Joe, when we talk about 1-800-PLUMBER, which has 24/7 service for your HVAC and plumbing needs, upfront pricing, which is crucial, but they also bring us your hot and cold. Do we have like a combined hot and cold based on college basketball last night and Scott Van Pelt?
We do.
Okay.
We
This
do.
is combined. Did Maryland get Chandler Parsons last night?
Kind of, sort of. It was a little bit of a cleaner look than that.
Yeah.
But it was still more of like it's tied. Who cares? We'll throw it up. And if if
it goes to OT, it goes to OT, right?
We're likely going to overtime, right?
Yeah. No, that was not the case. And I believe Scott Van Pelt was at that game earlier before he bounced back to his DC set for Sports Center. And here's Van Pelt after the game.
We begin, as we do nightly. Best thing I saw today. Steve, sometimes you just got to be a grown-up and you just got to deal with things.
Sometimes it's right in your face.
It was just, that was me.
Double fist bump.
Maryland gets the stop. Here comes Jacoby Gillespie. Are they going to win it? He pulled this quick from deep. And this is Trey Holloman from deep. Fuck it. Happens to Betsy, the man they call Jiggy, who was 2 of 11 from the floor, gets a clean look, and that's never anywhere but dead center. Was it the best thing I saw today? I mean, it was an incredible shot. Wasn't my favorite thing I saw today, but there's times in life, Steve, when all you can do is tip the cap.
Yep.
Maryland's good this year, by the way, if you're not keeping up. I like it when Maryland's good. I like seeing their place look like that.
I would like it if Maryland was good in the ACC still.
Right.
Add a little spice to it, but unfortunately, we're just not there anymore. But Van Pelt continues to be an absolute pro, man. Absolute pro, both the hot and the cold. We went over to Canes practice today ahead of Whalers night. Buffalo is in town, and we'll bring you our conversation with Rod Brind'Amour here in a second. Before we get to that, I thought this was interesting timing. We got a Players Tribune post from Sebastian Aho.
Oh,
which, okay. And it's titled, "To Canes Fans." Ooh. And it starts off by saying, I think about the playoff losses a lot. It hurt then and it hurts now. Each one of them stays with me. It stays with us. We have scar tissue. That's the honest truth. There's no point in lying about it. It's there, that it's part of who this team is and who we're going to be. I've been thinking about it now, not because I'm taking the regular season for granted or because we're already thinking ahead. It's actually the opposite of that. This year's team, we don't want to be just talented or a tight group. We want to have a real, in italics, identity, something that we can rely on no matter what happens during a month, a game, or a series, something we know is us, something that is true to Hurricane hockey through and through. And that thing is simple: hard work. I don't care at all if you think it's a cliche. So he goes on to talk about how they've come up short in 6 years in a row and everything else. But then things start getting interesting, and that's where I get to the timing of it all. Quote, and if you don't mind, I want to shout out Coach for a second here. Roddy. Nobody gets what it means to wear this sweater more than him. He's got this connection with fans. Man, it's crazy. He's a legend. I remember being 8 years old and watching from Finland when Carolina won in 2006. I can still see him and Cam Ward skating around with the cup above their heads. I got to know Roddy during my rookie year in 2016. Power play coach, he goes on. He's an incredible speaker. He just has this way of connecting with the guys that completely is genuine and honest. He feels like a teammate, like he's in the battle with you, and he sets the bar so high. He's the hardest working guy every day in the gym, in the film room. He is the culture. He goes on and on and on. He says to the fans, we want to do this, understand we're working hard, XYZ. I found this interesting on two fronts because he's talking to fans who are clearly going through it right now. We're doing this emotional roller coaster thing in the regular season, which I said last year, you'll remember when everybody was having the same kind of freak out. We're not doing in the regular season. when you were kind of going, hey, man, look at the Panthers. They're running hot right now. 2 years ago, same thing. Panthers are running kind of hot right now. If I'm the Canes, what do you do? I'm like, man, it's January. Let's wait till we get to the postseason to see where this goes. So I am not really all that interested in the ups and downs of the regular season, which we'll get to here in a second with Rod Brind'Amour. But again, I find the timing curious because people have been very vocal. I mean, hell, Tom Edwards, who writes about the Canes for OG345 over at OG Fans, wrote in the newsletter yesterday, hey, man, Rod's a player's guy, but he's also paid this money and he's the coach to solve these issues. Now, I do think, in defense of Rod Brind'Amour, a lot has been thrown their way, and it is just the end of February, and it's better to have worked these things out now with Mikko Rantanen and new roles now, rather than getting to March 6th when the trade deadline is and going through all that stuff through the whole month of March before next thing you know, the season's over. So there's still time for the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't understand why there's this freak out, but clearly they're hearing it. Clearly they're feeling it because, you know, and however you feel about the Players Tribune, like who's actually writing these things, it doesn't matter. It's interesting that it's coming from Sebastian Aho as well. Aho of all people.
Yeah, I tend not to panic when it comes to the Hurricanes and regular season results, but it's just been so wonky. You know, before the break, they end up losing 3 of their last 4. And they have the game against Utah at home where you're like, okay, all right, okay. And plus they were sick and it was this. And I mean, there was a lot of ways to explain it, right? Then they come back and I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm not sure how fresh Slavin's going to be after his quote unquote break. And then, you kind of look at some of those other guys, and Rantanen was kind of going through it for Finland as well. And then, you know, I had some concerns when they came back. And then, of course, you have the way that they play in Toronto, which was not good. And then the game in Montreal, they lose 4-0, but it was kind of a classic Canes 4-0 game where you're like, yeah, but it wasn't as bad as maybe you think. Okay, that's fine. But bottom line is they've lost 5 of 6, which is something that typically doesn't happen to them. And just to give people a little bit of insight, when we talk to Rod, we don't talk to him during the media scrum. We talk to him afterwards, but we're obviously there for his availability. Yeah. And we hear what he says. And there's a couple of tells with Rod. Like, I would love to write a book about Rod's press conferences. They're amazing. The lower the hat goes, the less interested he is in answering any kind of question.
Fair.
So, I mean, if you can find it on the team feed, like, it's, quite frankly, it's the reason we don't do it on camera either. He's more comfortable just talking rather than us recording him.
That you're absolutely right about that. There's a completely different dynamic.
There's that part of it. But like, and you'll hear it when we talk, but I could tell there's a frustration level there for him in this sense. When we talked to him in the summer, he was very candid with us about what he felt like happened to the roster and said, we did not get better. Straight up. Okay. Well, he figured out how to a way to make that work for what? The first 40, 50 games of the year.
Yeah.
And now you have this seismic trade and what is it, 10 games maybe going back to that Islanders game on the 25th. So,
yeah, it's been 10 games.
So you're looking at it and you're going, now he's sitting here going, now, wait a second. I've already made chicken salad out of chicken shit once. Now you're making me change the recipe. And if I'm Eric Tolsky or I'm Tom Dundon, I'm saying to him, yes, for this specific reason. And as usual, Rod is very candid with us in this interview. And I think, you know, if I was back in the day writing a feature, we would have pressed him more about what that conversation with Mikko Rantanen was about. Because you had asked him.
Yeah.
You said, you've been in this situation before as the guy who comes over, who's got to make a free agent, you know, acclamation, and you got to make a choice. You know, what have you kind of been saying? Now, he doesn't share those details.
He doesn't share those details, but I do think it was interesting timing that he said, and we'll have the interview here. Like, I just happened to talk to him about that yesterday. So, yeah, we went over to practice today. Here's our conversation with Brind'Amour.
On the outside, fans, heck, even media, second guessing They got answers. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that.
What do you want to do?
Well, that's the thing. Well, heck, let's trade him again. Let's do this. Let's do this line.
Play him with who? We've tried him with everybody.
Exactly.
What do you want? Who do you want to play with?
I think you should go to a zone. So I bring that up because coaching staff, players, you guys handle this a little bit differently. So in the stretch that you guys have been in right now, how do you handle this with all the stuff that has gone on with adding a big player, a little bit of a slump, integrating people, getting everybody comfortable? How do you manage this?
Well, it's interesting. I think it's a good question. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to fit everyone in, and right now it's trying to find the fits. And when pieces go out, that there's something that's lost. Now, who's going to take that fit? And sometimes the guys we're bringing in aren't really that fit. So now it's putting other guys in those positions. And that's really kind of the transition that we're going through right now. Okay, so it's a little bit of that. And then at the end of the day, it's getting those guys, how do you get them the best out of everybody? I mean, that's what coaching is, right? Whatever your role is, how do I get the best out of you? So now it's trying to find, okay, what do you do your best? How can I help you to get that? And that's what's kind of going on right now. And then it's dealing with the players that are new. They're pushing too much. Okay. And they're doing above and beyond what they can do or trying to, then that doesn't help either. So that's kind of what's going on. And at the end of the day, it's taking a look at the big picture, and you say, okay, it's in all the games we play, and how bad are we? And we're like, giving up 18 shots the other night. We gave up 21 in Toronto. I'm saying to myself, okay, one end is going pretty good here. We don't want to be, if we're giving up 50 shots and we were losing, I'd say we are in trouble. Yeah. It's not that bad. You know what I mean? One goal here or there changes the outcome, or a save here or there, and suddenly things are looking a little different. So you do have to kind of be mindful of that too.
I don't want to say frustrated, but we've talked to you before about there's parts of the season there's an ebb and flow to it. And I feel like maybe you figured out what you had at the start of this season, and now all of a sudden, as Archer Zerbe once said, you're thrown into the ocean and see if the puppy can swim. And I feel like you add all, right? Yeah. But you also add in the wonky schedule and this long break, and then your whole team had like diphtheria, and it's like
it's been an interesting little stretch. And I it's not a bad way to put it, the way you just described it, because we kind of went through a transition in the off season.
Seemed like you figured it out.
We had, it was kind of, we knew there were certain holes for sure. Every team has them. Yeah. But we were managing it fairly well. And I think now it's just feel like you're almost starting over again, and now we're going to have to figure it out, and then we'll manage the holes again. You know what I mean? I think you're just hoping that, it all comes together quicker than it has.
Are you comfortable now with your penalty kill? Because when you lose Jack and you lose Natchez, those were two guys. I remember one of the first two games back, you had said in the post game, like, I'm just throwing some people out there to try to figure it out. I think, it's easy to get seduced by the names, but those guys were really
that's the fit part of it.
Penalty killers
that's what you're talking about. Yeah. So now, okay, who's taking that spot?
Right.
And you're like, okay, well, somebody's got to figure it out. So, I mean, this is what the transition that we're going through right now. It's a little bit of that. The roles are a little bit different, but I gotta. My job is okay. What we can't lose the other pieces too. Like so, sometimes now we bring in guys, and I'm getting you your 20 plus minutes in rants, which he wants. But now I just lost another piece because that guy that was getting 12 is now getting 8 and becoming non-effective. Yeah. So there's a happy medium. That's the transition that I'm going through. Figuring, okay, I just lost that guy to get you. I gotta balance it all out.
Interesting you bring up the minutes. That goes to the start of the conversation. Just play Mikko more. That's what he was doing in Colorado, right?
Well, he's played 23 a night for us. So you can't really, and in our system, it's a little different. Right. There's no forward that plays that much in our system because it's too much. And so, to do it right. Yeah. I mean, we can throw guys out there, but if you want to do it right, which it's hard to do, that's probably too much. So, again, that's the learning curve I'm going through with him and trying to figure that out. And I think the whole team is kind of trying to figure out too.
And there's also the transition of it all. We talked to Jordan Stahl last week, and I had asked him, all right, as a captain, you've gone through this before, like Jake Guentzel last year, bring him in the room. How do you adapt? What's your role? All those types of things. And, typical Jordo answer, right? But for you, how do you have those conversations with Mikko with the transition that happens? And I mean, you've been through that. Yeah. You've been exactly through that. Well, so how do you talk to him about that?
That's exactly right. And actually just had that conversation with him yesterday. So I never would like to bring in guys and jump on them. And here you got to give them some time. And, we've had enough time now to where I can say, okay, here's what
it's like a Bruce Springsteen song.
Maybe. But, those relationships, you can't really, you don't want to force them. It's just, let's get to know each other.
Yeah.
I got to know your game. You got to know our style. Now let's have a conversation. We've been 2 weeks, whatever it is, 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Where are we at? And I think we had that yesterday. I think, Mikko's pushing. I mean, he wants to do well.
Yeah.
As you would expect. So it's trying to just let him know it's not all on his shoulders. And I think which is easier said than done. I know he's going to go out there tonight again. He's going to try to, score 5 goals on the first shift. But then you want that. But it's trying to take that pressure off and just go play. And, we got 19 other guys that got to help too.
Yeah.
This sounds like great parenting advice to me that I've given my 2 sons now that they're 17 and 20, especially when you're getting through high school and college. Like, you're trying to get a girl or you're trying to get a date, Rod, that the harder you try, the harder it is. If you just relax a little bit, don't grip it so tight. Yeah, you might have success. Right?
But persistency usually wears out too, right? So I don't know.
Well, there is that.
You wear them down. Sometimes they just say uncle.
So there's stamina, being the last one at the bar. I mean, there's that, right? Yeah. Being able to, being nice.
I don't know. I like hanging in there.
Hang in there.
Let it come to you. That's what I try to tell them. Let them come to you a little bit. Be nice.
I don't know. By the way, you gotta go get it.
But the harder you try sometimes. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, you're trying to score 5 goals in the first shift. It's like, hey, whoa,
chill out here.
Let's try to relax just a little bit on this front.
Defensively, I know you're talking about the shots on and things like that, but Brent seems to be. How is he in this role that he's in right now with Slavin and what you're being asked of him? I know you kind of got that in the scrum.
How long have we talked for?
We're at 7 minutes.
And not even talking about Slavin. You know
right.
what I mean? Like it's just like it's like our brain is so.
It's actually, you know what? Joe makes a very, very good point because it happened in the Four Nations tournament. It's like people watch and they go, "Oh yeah, that guy's really good."
Wait a second,
how about that? He's an eraser and all that kind of stuff. And that pairing with Burns and. I'm sure there have been some mental mistakes or some things that are
a couple, but they've been fine.
Okay,
I mean you play against the best players of the world every night. They're gonna get chances. People seem to forget that that's part of the game.
Yeah,
and to give up as little as they have. To me, you're talking about the 1 or 2 that end up in the net. Yeah. What if we get a save there? You're not even talking about it.
Is this just accentuated because of 5 of the last 6? When you lose, people are going to be hyper focused on those types of things.
Look at the bulk of the game.
Yeah.
Like where were the mistakes made there on those guys? There's 1 or 2 that I can count, and they ended up in the back of the net. If they weren't in the net, you'd be going, wow, those guys have been playing lights out. That's why you have to look at the big picture, and you have to also block out the noise. And I get it. You got to win hockey games, but sometimes you to sit there and go and say, well, it's that guy. That's you got to be careful there.
Okay.
Everything I learned about hockey, I learned from Rod Brind'Amour going back to the Four Nations Cup. Slavin's on the ice with McDavid. Well, let's draw a correlation here. He doesn't score. We get to overtime. Slavin's on the ice with him. And what happens when you leave the most skilled player on the planet alone with space? I thought of you specifically.
There you go.
When I saw that, I was like, yeah, this is what Rod has.
It doesn't usually work.
No,
it does not. No, it does not.
Nice to have one of those, though, too.
You got your Whalers fit ready?
Well, I guess. Yeah. I mean,
you care about that stuff?
Not particularly.
Okay.
I think it's a neat thing to break up the.
The hat you had at practice was tight, a little robe hat. I like that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's nice, knit the stuff, and I think it's cool because it does break it up a little.
Yeah.
More for the fans, I think. Whatever. Matter to me.
It's a green tie night, isn't it?
It is. I'll have one.
Perfect. Rod, we appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Again, always enjoy going over to Lenovo Center and having a chance to get, I don't know, a difference of opinion in how you approach things, Joe, and how Rod approach things. You're very much let the river do the work.
No. That's my advice.
That was your advice. I don't know.
The more you struggle, the harder it gets.
The more you try to swim upstream. No, just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Rod's like, nah, persistence based. You know who else is persistent? Actually, before we get into this, big thanks to Happy and Hale. We always do the hockey break.
Take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
Download the app today. Use that promo code OG25. You'll get 25% off your first online app order. But Joe's got something even cooler that we will be giving away over the course of the next few weeks.
I
What
feel
is
like
that, Joe?
I feel like we'll be giving these away like Craig Kilborn gave you correct answers on 5 questions.
Yeah.
There may not be a rhyme or a reason to it, but I will say this. These are amazing.
Yeah.
This is a black card. This is an executive OG Happy and Hale membership.
And it's made of metal.
It is.
Yeah.
The microphone.
The mic's over there.
You're going to take this to the register when you check out, and they're going to give you in perpetuity a 20% discount.
Amazing. In perpetuity.
In perpetuity.
You see that card, you flash that card, 20% off, no questions asked.
That
I love that.
Might be the single great. I love how we continue to invent giveaways on this program. Never been done before.
Nobody's ever done these things before. No, not at all.
Never been done before.
Never lost.
Here's how you at least qualify to get on our radar.
Okay.
Use our promo code OG25. This is important because they track these things.
Yes.
Use our promo code OG25. Take a screen grab. Email it to me, giglio.joe@gmail.com. Here's the other thing. That code only works once. So the more you send me your order and the more you send me the code, the more times you have a chance to win.
More entries.
Okay. We've also got what coming up? We got our what number follower on the YouTubes and some other things that we can incentivize.
Yeah, these are things where, as we've talked about in the past, when it comes to things like YouTube followers, we're all organic, baby.
Yeah.
We're all organic. And yeah, I mean, things have slowed down a little bit on follower count. It's fine. Follower count's vanity, but I like round numbers. You know how I feel about round numbers.
You love a round number. I don't.
So we're around 300 away from getting to 9,000 subscribers.
All right. So if we can figure out who the 9,000th subscriber is,
I would like that.
This would be yours.
I would like that. So again, go download the app, use that promo code. We mentioned persistence paying off. Would you say that Tom Dundon is a very involved, persistent kind of owner when he wants his way?
Yeah. Stubborn? Sure.
Yeah. Apparently the agents have picked up on this in the NHL. This is going to come as a surprise to you. The Athletic did an agents survey on a variety of different NHL topics. And item number 5 was, who is the worst owner in the league? Who do you think was tabbed as the worst owner in the league?
The NHL?
NHL, worst owner.
I don't know.
It would be Tom Dundon.
Really?
Yes. This is from The Athletic. Carolina Hurricanes owner Tom Dundon ran away with this category, something that could raise some eyebrows given the relative success of the organization. What's clear from the agent's comments is that it isn't really about any specific business decision or issues with spending, a more common sentiment the last time we did this exercise in 2022. It's more about Dundon's communication and leadership style, with several describing him as overly involved. Quote, I don't know how he has time or the energy. He is the de facto GM. These are things we've kind of understood here locally. Quote, a lot of people in our business hate it that Tom is so fucking involved, and he is basically the manager, and he has a lot of strong opinions too, and he's not afraid to tell all of us privately those opinions. His GMs and assistant GMs have to ask him permission for anything, said one agent. The idea that the owner's involvement is affecting the culture was raised several times. They've got some smart people there, but you just feel their culture by not even working there, just being around it, and it's not a great one. One agent joked, the worst part of Dundon lapping the competition here is that he's probably proud of it, end quote. All those things track.
I would say, yeah.
All those things track. Yes, I would say. One other hockey item before we move on. We've been mentioning the Four Nations tournament a lot, and it looks like we have some more. I screwed up the other day. I feel like I have to do a corrections and clarifications here real quick. I'm an idiot. In my mind, it's still 2015, but we have the Olympics next year.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd said something about, we'll go back to an all-star game, then we have the Olympics, and we do the World Cup. No, dummy. The Olympics are next year in 2026.
Okay.
So we have the Four Nations. Now we'll have the Olympics after that, and then you're going to go to the World Cup because they want to do these things in an every other year type format. And Gary Bettman, the commissioner for the NHL, was on with Rich Eisen a couple of days ago, and he was asked straight up about the future of the Four Nations tournament, and it sounds like there really is no future specifically for the Four Nations tournament.
Future here. This is the way it's going to go, where you're going to send NHL players to the Olympics. Obviously, that's happening next, and then the Four Nations would return in the interim. Is that the plan based on what we've just got here?
Actually, as I said, the Four Nations was kind of a quick appetizer. What we're going to do is Olympics, 2 years later a World Cup, 2 years later Olympics, 2 years later a World Cup. And the World Cup will have at least 8 countries participating. And that's something we're in the process of finalizing. And the world status may have something to do with exactly how we pull that all together. But we're looking to do a full World Cup like you see in soccer. We're going to look to do it in a variety of locations, and not just in North America. We'll be looking to do it in Europe as well.
Okay, that's Gary Bettman on with Rich Eisen. A couple of things about that. The World Cup, he mentions some world situations. He's looking at you, Russia. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Number one. Number two, this isn't like FIFA and what you traditionally understand as a World Cup. This is a league-run situation. You have to be part of the NHL to participate in the World Cup. At least that's my understanding of this format they're going to do in hockey. It's not going to use international rules. They're going to use the Olympic ice. They're not going to do any of that stuff, right? It is, much like the Four Nations, an NHL event because of money. Like getting back to Tom Dundon, the agents probably don't like Tom Dundon because Tom Dundon's very motivated by making sure that his bottom line is taken care of. And he's also a pain in the ass to negotiate with. We get all these things. Well, the owners are more interested in making money, and that's what the Four Nations is for. Great ratings. The Olympics, they don't get that. All you get is vibes from the Olympics. So with this World Cup, it's yet another money-making endeavor.
I have to laugh.
Yeah.
Gary Bettman, God bless him. Last time I saw him, I essentially motherfucked him to his face in an elevator.
Yes,
in the most Jerseyest way possible.
For those who do not remember the Stadium Series and you saw him in the elevator at Carter Finley Stadium, why did you motherfuck him?
Because it was such a disaster getting in and out of the building.
Because he saved money on parking,
and
Joe.
He was trying to act like what a smashing success and how he did listen to the locals. And I'm like, oh no, sir,
no, sir,
no, you did not.
Absolutely not.
But God bless him, because I feel for him in this sense, right? Like they had a whole year shut down in part because of his lack of leadership. And he's made some good decisions that he never really does get full credit for.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
no, I agree.
I think on the whole, Gary Bettman is good at his job. I do. But he used to work for somebody like Gary Bettman is NC State. Okay. He used to work for David Stern. David Stern was Carolina.
Yeah.
On a 30-year fucking sun run for the NBA. If something good could happen, like when David Stern takes over, it's like, geez, we got this Larry Bird, super
Magic
white
Johnson.
guy and the foil Magic to go against him in the two biggest what? And then all of a sudden, like, here comes this the gift of Michael Jordan. David Stern could shit gold and anything good could happen. Gary Bettman here, clearly towards the end of his tenure, used to work for David Stern in the NBA. He has this unbelievable success in the Four Nations tournament. And not even 48 hours later, he has to go on and be like, yes, I get it. Everyone lived for this and loved this, but yeah, it's never happening again.
Yeah, sorry.
It's like,
it's gonna get
like,
bigger.
Sure,
it's gonna be the World Cup, Joe.
Sure, because we need to see Germany lose by 28 goals to Canada. Like, come on, man. That's just a classic Gary Bettman, NC State type. Oh, you have this unbelievable thing? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, not gonna happen again.
Cool. I was going to say I just insulted Gary Bettman's poor Ivy League education from somewhere, but he is the NC State of commissioners.
Well, I mean, we all recognize NC State as the Ivy League of the. Wait, no,
no,
that's actually not.
But he
the
did
case.
go to the NC State Ivy League school. He went to Cornell.
Ah, perfect. Even better. See, there is a 1-for-1 correlation
I
there.
have my glasses on.
Did he go to Cornell? Is he a Cornell guy?
He did.
Oh, that
He
makes
did.
total sense then. I'm pretty sure you can find Cornell stuff at homefieldapparel.com. Maybe we should send one to Gary Bettman.
We
Or
should.
maybe because he's not an already Wolfpacker, we should send him a sweet NC State hoodie. I don't know. But Homefield's got awesome college apparel. I know that you State fans aren't exactly feeling it right now, but maybe you're feeling some old NASCAR vibes. They dropped the Earnhardt collection today. The 3 collections out there, including the jacket. It is sweet. So head on over to homefieldapparel.com as they are currently in Speed Week and take advantage of it. If you have not used that promo code yet, now is the time. OG345 to save 15% off your order. Speaking of saving money, or speaking of making money, your house is an investment. And if you sell your house, you do not want to leave money on the table. Well, folks, I am here to tell you that a guaranteed offer is lighting money on fire, especially in this market. So don't do it. Don't take a guaranteed offer because it's super easy, convenient, blah, blah. No, you're lighting money on fire. Instead, what you do is you contact our friends at Hometown Realty. Check them out, myhtr.com. Get to the point where somebody will overpay for your house, okay? Because that's what's happening. So do it. My Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. And speaking of your home, you might need some home and auto insurance. So contact our guy, Matt Davis, over at State Farm. InsureGuard.com, theoginsurance.com, or call him directly at 919-779-8277. Again, that's 919-779-8277. And Joe, are there ways to win tickets to Carolina Hurricanes
There
games?
are. Now, this is important. We want a screen grab of a quote. You call, check in with Matt, get that quote, send it to me, and you'll be entered to win Carolina Hurricanes tickets. Now, important, you have to leave some of your information with our friends at Matt Davis and State Farm in order for them to get in contact with you.
Yeah, it's kind of important. It's kind of important.
So Ben, we're getting there. We're getting there. Good first step. But let's make sure we're dotting all of the I's and crossing all of the T's.
Perfect.
We got a lot. We have 2 tickets per game to give away from Matt. We got, I think it's five different games from now until the end of the regular season to give away, starting with that first game next Thursday, March 6th. So get yourself a quote, give me a screen grab, email it to me, giglio.joe@gmail.com, and you can win 2 tickets to see the Carolina Hurricanes.
Joe, there's a lot of things to get into today. A lot of things.
A lot.
Let's actually start with the college football playoff format battle that is unfolding this week. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips went semi-viral for a quote that he had given coming out of these meetings. I understand where he's coming from on this, but the quote is, "For all of us, there's been somebody before us and there will be somebody after us. You have to serve your constituents, but you can't be completely oblivious and not mindful of what's good for college football and fans and what you are hearing from them." Essentially, Jim Phillips believes, this is from the Ross Dellinger piece on Yahoo Sports, that they are guardians of the game and should be mindful of the greater good when determining the format. What this comes down to is the ACC and the Big 12 specifically, along with some Group of 5 schools, but specifically the ACC and the Big 12 are negotiating over what the next format is going to look like. They're even still working out the details for this upcoming season. What Jim Phillips and Brett Yormark want to do is tie the negotiations for 2025 into what happens into 2026, because they know after this year, the SEC and the Big 10 can essentially do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to do here, what it ultimately comes down to, Yormark, this is from the Ross Dellinger piece. Yormark said changes in 2025, quote, set the tone for changes in 2026 and beyond. You cannot look at them in any other way. So right now, the thing that seems to be picking up the most steam is the 14-team playoff. 4-4, 2-2, 1-1. So 4 for the SEC and the Big Ten, 2 for the ACC and the Big 12, 1 obviously for Notre Dame, and then of course you have your Group of 5 team. But what Jim Phillips and Yormark are arguing over is, how do you seed? Right now, that seems to be the biggest battle right now. How do you seed? There are some who want straight seeding. All right. None of this, hey, did you win your champ? Did you win your conference? Are you the conference champ? Are you in the top 4? Okay, you get the bye. They want a straight seed. The thing is, with not as many automatic qualifiers, you don't get that benefit, because the chances of an ACC team being in a bye bubble outside of their conference champion as it's currently constructed, and you just go straight seeding, it might not benefit you. So it benefits the SEC or the ACC and the Big 12 to have that. So that seems to be the battle right now, as is the money as well. One of the things that was cracking me up reading this Dellinger piece and listening to a little bit of the college football podcast that they do with Yahoo Sports, it comes down to like $4 million. Quote, in the current 12-team format, the top 4 seeds in the first round buys are reserved for the 4 highest ranked conference champions. Each one of those teams is automatically earning $8 million as part of their performance-based distribution model. They get $4 million for qualifying for the event and another $4 million for advancing to the quarterfinals. Under discussion is the possibility of the 4 highest ranked conference champions continuing to earn that additional revenue despite not receiving a top 4 seed and a first round bye. Is it enough to sway the room to make a seeding change? Maybe, but there's another piece of the puzzle. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips and Brett Yormark believe that the alterations for 2025 are tethered to any potential changes to 2026. So they're arguing once again about money. What are you laughing at? Oh, Wes makes a really good point.
Now I have the water in my mouth, Wes.
That's a really good point. 4-4-4? 2-2-1-1?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can remember that one.
What would the format be? That sounds like the OG Sports Phone Championship is what you're building towards.
Once again ahead of the game, folks. Once again. So anyway, it's all format and money, and I feel for Jim. I'll close my thoughts on this. I don't know what you think about this, but like, I get what Jim's trying to do, man, and I get he's trying to like we're trying to protect the game and protect these formats, and we don't want to make this a big jamboree. We don't want to make this some sort of invitational. But you lost when you agreed to let the SEC and the Big Ten do what they want to do.
Yeah, I just wish I had an eighth of Jim's optimism and
I know
this outlook and disposition on the world, and his Pollyanna.
It's very Pollyanna.
I just wish I had an eighth of it. I just don't. I don't. And so
maybe you could use that during tax time. Just a little drip of it. Just a little drip.
I love those new commercials where they bring in the backup quarterback to help. I think it's one of the insurance companies.
Well, yes, one of them.
And Jacoby Brissett is the one who comes in, and I would love to have like me like sitting there doing some sort of problem solving exercise, and then Jim Phillips pops in with his now Joe. We're talking about the guardians of the game here. We have a greater responsibility to our better angels, Joe. And then Belichick could be on the other shoulder and just be like, yeah.
The lightning round.
Of changes, we got NFL changes. The NFL plans to determine first downs electronically.
Well, they're not going full yet.
No, I'm reading this from the Washington Post. The implementation of the system for regular season play does not require an approval for vote. The league will deploy the system next season as long as it feels comfortable that it will be effective, adding that the camera technology to put the system in place is already installed at every NFL stadium. This drives me nuts. You've already spent the money. You already have it there, and yet you refuse to do the easiest thing that technology has provided for you. But the league tested the system previously, including during preseason games. And yes, they will still be using on-field officials following the play to spot the ball manually. So the old guys aren't out of work. I just look at the NFL as a job creator.
Oh, now, speaking of wishing to have people over your shoulder, I wish we could send Brett Friedlander to these NFL meetings and be like, You're gonna rely on the in-stadium Wi-Fi to do what now?
Yeah. But the thing is, this stuff works. We're seeing this in baseball with the automated ball strike system, the ABS system.
There's a few more moving parts to this NFL equation. But
I get it, but the technology is there.
Yes.
And like, what was it? This is from John Boy Media, and it's titled "The ABS System is Making Umps Question Themselves." This is from a spring training game.
Good breaking ball, just misses. Brett Sullivan going to challenge.
Ball call.
Brett has been expert at the ABS system.
Ooh. The call is surprisingly correct.
The call is surprisingly correct.
Yeah, man. I'm here for the robot umps. They should have been here a long time ago. They're not using this in the regular season for baseball yet.
Yeah.
It's just for spring training, but they used it in the minors last year. They'll continue to use it in the minors. And the most interesting thing about this is as long as you keep winning your challenge, you can keep using your challenge. So it's not a full automation of the strike zone yet. Not yet, but they need to get there.
I do think that part of the reason that we are not fully going over to these automated systems is that there's some sort of bizarre romantic notion about the strike zone, that it's an art.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
If you say so.
Sure.
I would like to know, is it a ball or a strike? This is not a complicated thing. It's either a ball or a strike, an either or. This whole business of the, where he's working the corners, there's an art to it, and you've got the little shimmies that the umps do after the fact. Like, enough of that. Let's make this thing efficient. And the same thing goes with the NFL. Are we really are we romanticizing a couple of retirees, the chain gang, moving up and down the sideline? Do we really, is it that important to the NFL to get the call right? Clearly it's not, because they would rather have the romanticism of an old man crew with a chain coming up and doing the tech mobile dunk. Oh, it's this close. It's this close. Is that what we really want? Is that, because that's what it's really about. It's the theater or getting the call right. And everybody says they want the call right, right? Nah, y'all want the theater. That's what I'm finding out. Speaking of,
it's not even adopted yet, and we need to make T-shirts that say 442211.
We do need to do
the championship.
Look, one T-shirt at a time.
I know, but like that's
too good. I'm trying.
That's too good.
I'm trying to get this other T-shirt fast tracked for a special store.
Drunk OG.
Right.
Yes.
I'm trying to make that happen.
Yes.
Speaking of Belichick, we got spring ball coming around for the Tar Heels, all of college football, and all we keep getting on these these NFL dudes.
A lot of this is Edelman, but I love when Edelman has the former Patriots on and they tell stories about Belichick.
And these stories, I guess, we use to help inform us in that, how is Belichick going to be with college players? Now, we're going to play this clip about guys being out of shape from the, I think the Edelman podcast is Names with Games or Games with Names. I think that's the name of the podcast.
Here, fat camp, but I was overweight. Do you want me to go ahead and elaborate
yes,
on that?
What is fat camp?
You get to New England, and of course, you have that meeting where you come in there and you're a rookie. He gives you your playing weight. Nash is like, Ridley, you got some work to do. I'm like, all right, I ain't scared of work. Coach said you got to be at 220. I said, 220? How? He said, don't ask me. I'm just telling you what the boss man said. And I said, well, which boss man we talking about? He said, you can go see the head man if you want to.
You took that long ass walk down those hallways
to that entry door.
And you saw Bears.
Cross Bears' office. I said, Bears, is coach available? I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I might have been getting off on the wrong foot with Bill Belichick, because here I am as a rookie walking into his office trying to tell him what my playing weight would be.
You thought you were going in there to negotiate a couple pounds.
Can we meet in the middle?
This guy thinks he can go talk to Bill.
Go talk to Bill. Like, can I not go
what an idiot.
I said, Coach, could come in and sit down. He said, yeah, Red, come on in and sit down. Sat down. He's like, what you got, Red? I said, Coach, I need to talk to you about this weight. And he said, what's the number? I can't really remember what I had. 220. That's impossible. And he looked at me and he said, well, Red, I mean, really, I think it's only about $563 per pound per day that you're overweight. So it's really up to you. I can do quick math. I'm third round draft pick. I ain't got money like that. So fat camp, I went.
Were you better at 220?
Quick as a cat, man. freaking nasty, dude. Once I got to that playing weight, I'm like, hey, Bill knows what the hell he's talking about.
I love it.
So here's the thing.
Yoda, Dagobah, come into the office and get some advice.
Yeah.
And then leave.
So this works. This is what I'm gonna have. This is the fascinating part about what's about to unfold in Chapel Hill. That works in New England. That works at the NFL. Money is this motivating factor. There's things in the CBA. There's a construct that allows you to do those types of things and hit a guy like Calvin Ridley with math.
Stephen
Or
Ridley.
Stephen
That was
Ridley.
the running back.
My
Yeah.
bad. I got my Ridleys wrong. But hey,
Not the gambler.
right. Hey, $563 a day.
Yeah, hey.
Right?
Your choice.
That's in there. That's in there for you. Okay. Now, how are you gonna negotiate that with a player during the spring? Right? With NIL? Like, how does that work? I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer.
One of the more interesting things to me is the old codgers that he keeps around as like his gargoyles guarding the inner sanctum. I want, because remember the guy, the Spygate guy is the famous one who's always up in the press box and doing his thing.
There was a whole GQ
Are
profile on
these
that guy.
guys coming to Chapel Hill? Is this Surge coming to, or Burge? Is he coming to Chapel Hill?
I don't know.
Like, I want to know like the whole menagerie that's going to be over there as they put together the world's greatest 8-4 football team.
I mean, when we saw Michael Lombardi's getting paid $1.5 million to be the GM. Hey, man.
Nice work if you can get it,
Good
man.
buddy.
Once again, I'll reiterate that Bill Belichick and the Lombardi family have turned the University of the People into the University of their ATM.
Good stuff.
We've got a lot to get to. Woo. It's a lightning round.
We continue on the Joe Giglio is either on his couch or on his throne scrolling, and he sends me things. This is a story. I'm gonna title this portion of the lightning round "Asshole Coach Corner."
Oh,
how effective can it be? So let's start with
which one is this one? I don't even know.
Let's start with the Jason Tatum.
Oh, okay.
This is Jason Tatum giving a story of his time with Duke and Mike Krzyzewski. I thought it was an interesting segue into the other asshole coach's corner.
He cusses a lot. We played at Virginia, ACC game. I wasn't shooting, but I was like making the right play. We were winning, so I come in the locker room. I'm upbeat. Like, I don't care. I got 2 points. Like, we winning. I'm shaking everybody. I'm like, yo, let's keep going. Let's keep going. So in college, the players sit down first. Then the coach come in. He wait till we all sitting down. And I remember he came in. He just took his jacket off and he threw it at me. He threw it right at me. He's like, you soft-ass St. Louis kid. He was like, I should have left you in St. Louis if you was going to play like this. You should have never came to Duke. Like, just going in on me. I'm like, damn. I started getting mad. And I balled my fist up. We didn't talk about the game, the plan to go in the second half. He just cussed me out for like 7 minutes. And he left. And everybody was like, Jay, you going to be good. And I was pissed. But then I scored like 28 points in the second half. We ended up winning. After the game, he was like, do I got to cuss you out every halftime? I was like, Coach, don't do that anymore.
So there you go. There's an old Jason Tatum story. Classic coach kid.
Yeah.
Classic
St.
coach
Louis, Mike was a Chicago guy. He loved to denigrate other parts of the country.
He'd love doing that. Now we get to current coach, Danny Hurley, UConn. At some point, the shtick might be wearing thin. Are we at that point
Not
with
yet.
the shtick wearing thin?
When they lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament this year, that's when people will be like, ooh.
So Hurley was asked a question about dealing with pressure or cutting through pressure on the defensive end. Okay.
The press.
And his response was not about actual basketball. It was about dealing with the press.
I mean, I think the press has been an asshole to me the whole year. Oh, wait, you mean the... Oh, I thought you meant... There's people acting far worse than me. What was that? I didn't know what you were talking about there. I'm sorry. They've been fair at times. Listen, we've seen it so much now.
So he continues to talk about dealing with the press and all that kind of stuff on an actual basketball level. Has the media been bad to Danny Hurley?
I don't know. Woj negotiated a raise for you through the media.
Right. Like, what am I? This is one of those things where, like, I sometimes have a hard time processing how people at a certain level create like Jordan levels of that's when I took it personal, right? For instance, in the media world, Pat McAfee made a little bit of a stink because he's back from vacation, getting ready for the combine because it's in Indianapolis, which is obviously where he's based. And he said, yeah, I heard those whispers that, is Pat McAfee coming back to ESPN? Dude, you went on vacation. Like, everybody understood you went on vacation after the Super Bowl. Most NFL people go on vacation. Most major shows take a break after the Super Bowl. Nobody was going, oh, man, where's McAfee been? Is he coming back to ESPN? What's the intrigue? And it's like, you just invent haters, man. You invent them. And I feel like Hurley's at that level too. And I have a hard time being able to get at a level where you invent hateration out of thin air. And I feel like that's what Hurley's doing, because after you win back-to-back national titles, I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be so concerned about the press. I'd be more concerned about Rick Pitino beating me twice and him running hot at St. John's. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to be honest with you. I've made this point before, but I'll make it again. If I'm Danny Hurley and I win 2 titles in a row and I still can't get Cooper Flag from Maine, I'm just like,
okay, well then
what am I doing?
Then bring that up.
What am I doing?
Then
You can't, because it's like, I bet you that is what is actually eating away at him.
You think so?
It's like, what do I have to do
to
get a player like what? Literally, what do I have to do?
I don't know.
Like,
So
think about it.
So
Maine,
when they get knocked out of the tournament,
they will.
How's it going to go?
They're not that good this year.
Yeah.
And they have the other McNeely, which there's some sort of pox on that family.
And maybe that's why he's doing this, to distract from the fact that maybe this team is not as good. So he's just going to make it about himself. Yeah, maybe that's the case. Maybe that's the case. Anyway, does that make him a blue blood though, Joe?
Not yet. Maybe if you got Cooper Flag.
Big thanks to our friends at O2 Fitness. O2fitnessclubs.com is the website. They're more than just a gym.
So much more than a gym.
And when we say they're more than a gym, look, the gyms are great. Locations are fantastic. The staff is wonderful. The equipment is top notch. All those things are what you're looking for in a gym, but it goes beyond that. As we've talked about before, Renew Physiotherapy can help you with, like what Giglio's dealt with, neck issues. Maybe you got a little knee pain, any sort of physical therapy, they can help you out with that. We talk about eating better. Yes, we have a lot of corporate champions that really do help you gain a few pounds, but you have to counterbalance that. And that's where Loop Nutrition can help you get on the right path for making the right decisions. And of course, a new partnership with Thrive. LiveThrive.co is the website. There is a lot of information out there about weight loss treatments or oral testosterone, but this is something that has been partnered with O2 Fitness. It's local. You can go online and go through those steps to find out more and see what treatment is right for you. So go to livethrive.co. Look, you get in your 40s, happens to everybody. If you're a guy, you don't have as much energy. It's just a natural drop in testosterone, but there are treatments for that. Same with weight loss. You get a little older, it's tougher to lose weight. Maybe you're eating better, you're working out, but it doesn't hit the same. Well, they've got some options for that as well. So go to o2fitnessclubs.com. Speaking of working out, our friends at Roback have a ton of great workout gear. Go to roback.com, use that promo code OG20. If you're looking for the shorts, you're looking for the shirts, they've got that for you. Or if you just want to look fresh to death, like Joe Giglio over here in the quarter zip.
I actually texted Ben yesterday and I said, hey, man, everyone was so excited about that Ireland quarter zip. I said, I look like the third Affleck, the fat one. But I look good doing it.
You look good doing it.
And
man.
today I got a Merc on today. I got my presidents and Frederick Douglass and fireworks and Capitol buildings and Eagles. And
so
one of my favorites.
Go to roback.com, use that promo code OG20. I was over at Lenovo Center. You were over at Lenovo Center. I have a lot of weird salt and brine from all the snow and all that kind of stuff that's picked on my car. So you know what I did? Hit the breeze through, hit the car wash.
Is there anything they can't do?
They got it all. Beer cave, coffee, gas, and of course, car wash. Breezethrough is one stop for y'all. Go to breezethrough.com to find out more. Download the app. That way you can save on gas.
I feel like that could be like one of those Rod Brind'Amour type moments where we can go to the Breezethrough and be, hey, just be persistent. Just be there. Always be there.
Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer. Check them out online, wh.lawyer, attorneys and counselors at law. They have locations all across North Carolina. They can help you with some personal legal needs, your business legal needs. They've helped us out. And they also have a dope spot in Garner, the Shadies.
I need to check in with Josh because 442211 needs to be intellectual property.
Are we going after the SEC and the Big Ten?
Yes.
We can go after the college football playoff?
Yes.
Maybe Michael Kelly can help us get a contact over there since he used to run that thing.
Cease and desist on your 442211s. Or use it.
No. I don't want to. No. You're thinking about this wrong. It's not a cease and desist.
Use it.
We want to cut.
Yes.
That's what we want. But Joe, think of the taxes. Think of the tax implications.
I was in a good mood today. Why did you?
Well, because you're always worried about taxes. From Ramar, our number one Duke basketball honk. Sorry you were not Cooper Flagg's favorite team 15 years ago, Danny. Time to move on.
No, to be fair, he has never publicly advanced this theory. This is just me reading his brain. But
fair enough.
You got to think, like, here's a guy that they recruited and came down to Duke and UConn, and you're winning back-to-back national titles, putting multiple big white guys into the NBA, and you still can't get them. Like, that's a stinger, man. That stings.
It has to be. It has to be. From Ken, cupping balls, F first, shit and gold. You get all the good stuff on this podcast. Curse or don't. Speaking of cursing, let's go back to the OG Sports Phone, shall we?
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
And of course, the OG Sports Phone is brought to you by Nature's Relief. Go check them out, naturesreliefhempstore.com. This is from a 919.
Hey, this is John from Raleigh. I'm just calling in regards to the guy who was on yesterday's podcast calling in about his daughter's wanting to go to the NC State, I think, spring game or something, and they're so disappointed with that. Well, if he's raising to be State fans, they better get you to disappointment. So, State sucks.
I'm going to need you to think of the children, sir. Come on.
Well, no, but as we know, Wolfpack ain't for soft people. As I was talking to somebody the other day, the Wolfpack life does.
Even the mob leaves the children out.
That's
Come
fair.
on,
That's
man.
fair. That's fair. Just remember, you choose.
Valid point, but
the Wolfpack life chooses you. Okay, you do not choose the Wolfpack life.
Oh man!
Every time I think I get out, they pull me back in. That's what NC State does. All right, this is from a 910.
I'm going to start by saying that the Final Four run was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I got to go with my dad, who was at State for the 73 championship, and just got to experience that, games in Raleigh, the Bell Tower, and the Final Four. I think we're here for a couple of reasons. One, because everybody knew the Final Four was a fluke. Maybe that's why NIL didn't go up. Maybe that's why we didn't go to donations. Maybe that's why we didn't get any big-name portal transfers, because they've seen how Kevin Keats coached every other season and every other game and knew it was lightning in a bottle. I just can't believe we hired a guy who in his opening press conference had the audacity to say Kevin Keats is a winner and then, other than a fluky 9 games, not win a damn thing. And it's time for this to be over. It's so bad. I mean, if you come in and say Kevin Keats is a winner and all you do is lose games, you need to evaluate how you carry yourself and the kind of things you say on a public platform, because this is just sad.
People have used that against Kevin Keats for his entirety, the entire run, and I've never understood why. You can be a winner in life, okay? You might lose the basketball game, but you can still go out there and be a winner. So I'm not going to hold it against him to say Kevin Keats is a winner. But that has stuck with him since.
Clearly.
Man, there's some things that people just have not gotten over in terms of some of those lines. All right. Let's see what else we got here. We got another. This is the last call. This is from a 910.
Quick thought about what Giglio so perfectly put in a tweet, the steamer of a game that we just watched, State Syracuse. I told my parents after a rampage that they went on about Keats after this, with this season as compared to last year and everything else. And I made the argument, and I'm going to stick with it, that if at the beginning of last season, if you had given me the option of a Final Four, but you're going to have to deal with a season like this, I still would have signed up for it every day. I know it might be a little positive to think now that we're going to miss the ACC tournament, but at the end of the day, the Final Four is still there, and even though Keats is not going anywhere for next year, year-to-year proposition, year-to-year proposition, year-to-year proposition. That's what I'm going to keep telling myself. But now the game's over with. Time to move on to much more high-quality entertainment, Righteous Gemstones. Thanks for everything you guys do, and go Pack.
So we seem to be having a back and forth. We'll close on this. We seem to be having a back and forth on the, what was it early in the podcast that you banged me on because I repeated it, where I said it one too many times? There was something you got on me about.
Gets the people going.
Nah, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was Aaron Rodgers. You got mad at me for like constantly bringing up Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that's what it was.
Oh,
but I feel like I'm gonna have to put you on a year.
I didn't say it. He
No. This he said it, but you say it still. You said it a couple times this week. We might have to
Not
put
today. I didn't say
we
it
might
today.
have to put year-to-year proposition
No,
either on it, rather on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Put it on the queue of T-shirts that we need to do.
Year.
Does that apply to this podcast?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
You're coming up on year 2. We got birthday number 2 coming up, right?
Year to year, man. Month to month.
Is it a
week to week?
Is it a day to day?
Hour to hour, minute to minute, second to second.
NC State moderator chiming in. Damn, I didn't know Keats has only won 9 games in his career.
Correct.
It's the only 9 games he's ever won.
Correct.
Anti-positive affirmation from RX on YouTube. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. We are back tomorrow for a mailbag. If you want the full mailbag, go to ogtrianglemedia.com. Sign up to be part of OG Fans, where you get hot takes from Tom Edwards. You get Lauren Brownlow movie reviews and various other things on the podcast. What are you laughing at?
Paul's been good today.
What do we have here? Let me pull it up. Year-to-year proposition and put it in your ear. Giglio special saying shirt vault. You know what? We might have to come up with a very specific Giglio shirt vault or a hat for all I know.
I don't even know who would wear a put it in your ear shirt.
Joe, what do I always tell you?
There's something on the internet.
There's something on the internet for everybody, including us.
Googling put it in your ear and our shirt comes up.
There, the moderator came up with a happy medium. Ear-to-ear proposition. On that note, we'll wrap it up. We'll see you for the mailbag tomorrow.